Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to the Genshin Impact video. And today let's talk about Thoma. Let's talk about the potential of his character, let's talk about the possibilities in synergy with different characters, and why you may or may not want to roll on him. But before we get into that, I just want to quickly clarify that if you like the character, if you like Thoma as a character, by all means roll on him. Get him C6, do whatever you want with him, if you like him. If you're in that fan base type of mentality where you just want the character for aesthetic reasons, get him, go for it. Who am I to stop you? I'm just some schmuck on YouTube. But if you're here for some numbers, maybe not specific numbers, but potential numbers and theory crafting, then by all means stick around, because we're now going to get into some of that. Okay, so for those who don't know, Thoma is a spear user, pyro element, and his origin is like Mondstadt, but he lives in Inazuma. He's a fixer-upper, giving some lore background on the character here, nothing really important. But the main part is that he's a spear pyro user. Now, what does that evidently mean in the end? Is that spear users actually have a massive advantage. I don't feel many people acknowledge this, but because he's a spear user, the potential of his character is much higher, or at least on par with sword users, due to there being such an extensive amount of very high quality weapons. Now, if we jump into the weapon archive here, I don't have every weapon, I'll say that, but I have a good enough knowledge on them to kind of say. If we just look at the 5 stars specifically, pretty much all of them except the Vortex Vanquisher are eligible to work on him extremely well. Crit damage on the Staff of Thoma with just a passive attack boost on it. Skyward Harp being, well, I think its main stat is pretty good. And the Skyward series is just a good series. Primordial Jade Spear with the crit rate buff and the general attack boost on it. Engulfing Lightning, probably one of the lesser, or the weaker ones on him, but still, nevertheless, if you build him for elemental burst damage, which is, hint hint, the way that you're going to want to build him, if you do build him that way, then the Engulfing Lightning will work pretty well. Now, if we take a look at the 4 stars, from my knowledge of them, and I've also got a bit of a website open to really fact check myself here, but there's a handful of weapons that really do work well with him. One of them, the Catch, which is going to be probably his best 4-star, because you're going to want to build him elemental burst wise. The Catch is going to be extremely strong on him, much like it is on Zhang Ling or some characters like that, Zhongli as well. It's going to be super strong. Obviously, the Deathmatch is going to be a phenomenal weapon on any character, but that is Battle Pass, so I'm not going to heavily suggest it. The new Wavebreaker's Fin, from my knowledge, is an elemental burst damage boosting weapon, dependent on your energy recharge throughout your whole team. I don't have this weapon, so I can't really say if it's good or not, but just from the Genshin wiki description, it does sound like it will be really good for an elemental burst build. And Dragon's Bane, another 4-star weapon, which boosts damage against Hydro and Pyro characters, which this also is a close competitor for his best weapon in my honest opinion at Refinement 5, purely for synergy reasons with other characters, which we'll get into in the character section. But that is pretty much the lineup for all the weapons. I'd say almost all the 5-star weapons work extremely well on him. There's no real weapon that I can think would not work with him or doesn't synergize in any way with. Maybe the Vortex Vanquisher, mainly because it has to do with shields, but then again, he does put a shield on himself, so again, could be extremely prominent. And then Wavebreaker's Fin, the Catch, Dragon's Bane, Deathmatch. You could even go with Favonius Lance or something like that. Lithic Spear works. All these spears do work. Probably, I don't really know these other ones. The Royal Spear, I've never seen anyone use, so that's besides the point though. But yeah, he has a very large selection of weapons that he can choose from, so that is a good thing. Another thing though is that he's Pyro. He's a Pyro character. And from my knowledge, 90% of the Pyro characters are jacked. 90% of them. Let's take a look at the Pyro characters really quickly. Let's just take a quick gander at them, right? We got Hu Tao, a jacked DPS. We got D-Luke, jacked for his time, which was a year ago. You got Bennett, best character in the game. Zhang Ling, an upcoming character. We don't talk about Amber. We don't talk about Jin Yan. That's just kind of like, you know, we just don't talk about the 1%. You got Yan Fei, a cracked DPS as well. So every Pyro character has pretty much been cracked. I don't have every single one. I probably could go into the character archive, but every Pyro character is just amazing, phenomenal. Why not have them just purely because they are Pyro, right? And specifically due to Thoma's playstyle, which I presume is going to be absolutely phenomenally synergetical with a certain other Hydra character, he could prove extremely strong, much like the illustrious Hu Tao, much like Yen Fei, much like Klee. They could synergize really well with this certain character, proving to be reacting type character, obviously. But because of the play style behind his elemental burst, the pyro element is going to be absolutely phenomenal. Because if this was, let's say, a Geo character, if his elemental burst was a Geo element, or if it was Animo, or even Cryo, it would not be anywhere near as good as if it was pyro. Now, as to his playstyle, for those who don't know, Thoma is pretty much Xingqiu 2.0, Xingqiu Pyro version, Xingqiu Reborn in Flames, or whatever you want to call him. That's pretty much what he is. Because once you press his Q, instead of sending out swords, he just sends out like a little carpet bomb of fire. And this is the character that is going to make or break Thoma. If they work well together, then it's going to be absolutely phenomenal. It's going to be an unparalleled, or maybe it is going to be paralleled, but it's going to be an extremely prominent duo. Specifically, if you are going for a moderately free-to-play 4-star build, if you don't have any 5 stars, this is going to be an extremely strong combination for you, is getting Thoma with a decent spear and Xingqiu with a decent sword, and you'll be able to blitz enemies comboing their elemental bursts. Because, as well as their elemental bursts synergizing well, they are both off-field damage, so you can pop both of them and then switch characters, and both of them will still kind of go out. And so you can then introduce a third element if you want, or you can choose one of the elements to be the reactor. I think preferably you want to do Pyro, so you can switch to another Pyro character like Hu Tao, for instance, or D-Luke, or any other Pyro character that you really have, and you can have more and more Pyro application. So that is the one biggest selling point that I have for Thoma, is that he's going to work extremely well with 90% of the characters, because he's pretty much Xingqiu but Pyro. And as you know, Xingqiu has one of the highest pick rates in Spiral Abyss from my knowledge, specifically the Hu Tao Xingqiu combination. He's one of the most loved characters and mostly used characters, on top of Bennett, Zhang Ling, Kazuha now. And what's not to love about him? He's a spear user, very diversely easily built, massive damage expected, and also a tank character due to his elemental skill being pretty much a shield. So you can expect a lot of damage coming out from him, you can expect a lot of damage mitigation, and because he's a tall character, a fair bit of movement, because tall characters move faster, and that's a selling point for me. And that's been pretty much everything that I'm going to say about Thoma for now. I definitely will make a follow-up video on his release. I'll be going into the test run with him, showing you guys a bit more specifically about the numbers that he's doing, his play style, would I recommend him. I'll do all that stuff on his release, just to give you guys a bit more information then. But I wanted to make this video now to just kind of set your expectations at some point, because he does have a lot of potential. His potential is really, really high right now. And he's pretty much one of the reasons that I'd recommend rolling for the Hu Tao banner. Not specifically for Hu Tao, but I would recommend rolling for Thoma if you're really interested in him. If you are interested in him, 100% go for it. I don't see any reason not to. But that has been my Thoma video for now. Stay tuned for the next one, which will be on his release. Till then, guys, have an amazing day. Thanks for subscribing. If you haven't, do it. Like the video as well, and also ring the notification bell to stay notified of when I upload my next video. Have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.